evening, everybody. My name is Jody Smith. I'm the president of the Humboldt District Chamber of Commerce. Some initial housekeeping. Please turn your cell phones off, just in case you forgot. And as I mentioned before, tea, coffee, and water is just outside this room here, so please feel free to help yourself. I'd like to welcome you, and most of all, thank you for taking time out of your personal lives to come tonight. This is an exciting time for the City of Humboldt and for our region. With the number of candidates that we have running for the City Council, this speaks to the interest in the growth we're experiencing. This is the reason we wanted to host a forum for our community, so that these candidates could introduce themselves to the citizens that they're going to be representing, and you'd be able to make some informed decisions. The format for the evening will be as follows. I will be the moderator for the evening. Each candidate will take 1 minute to introduce themselves and provide opening remarks. We're then going to move to a question period. Questions were submitted prior to this evening, where an expert committee combined them into relevant and concise topics. Each question was assigned 3 candidate members. Tonight, all the candidates, as they came in, randomly drew for their own assigned numbers. For example, question 1 will have, maybe candidates 1, 5, and 8 will be answering the question. So that's how we kept everything very random. Each candidate is going to have exactly 90 seconds to respond to the question, or I will blow my whistle. Literally. Donald and Thorsteinson at the end will be representing 2 of the candidates that were unable to be with us tonight due to unforeseen circumstances. So she will be reading the answers that they have submitted, by the candidates. So they already had the questions and they provided the answers, so it'll still all be random. After the question period, each candidate is going to be allowed 2 minutes for closing remarks. Immediately following the forum, the candidates have been asked to stay, and after the formal part of the evening, to network and to answer any questions from you. Thank you for your interest in our future City Council. Please remember to vote. It's your opportunity to be heard, to hold elected officials accountable for their decisions, and to have a say in important issues that affect your community. Thank you, and we're going to get started. We'll start with opening remarks, and we will, again, be drawing randomly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kent Flavel. I'm a candidate for the position of council for the City of Humboldt. A little background on myself. I have 2 children. I've been married 25 years. I work at Connexus Credit Union as a commercial account manager, and my family and I have called Humboldt home for nearly 12 years. Some of the larger commitments I have had serving my community since moving to Humboldt would have been serving 2 terms on the board of directors of the Humboldt Minor Hockey Association. I have served on the board of directors of the Humboldt District Chamber of Commerce for 5 years, and have coached minor hockey for a number of years. Prior to moving to Humboldt, I also served for 10 years on the board of directors of another credit union. I seek the position of councillor for the City of Humboldt as a means to continue to make a positive contribution to my community by sharing my leadership qualities and my experience in planning and decision making for the betterment of all. Thank you.
Mark Dreadhart.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to attend this session. Thank you, fellow West City members, for attending and spending your time with us to listen to our speeches for the night. My name is Mark Dreadhart. I moved here 2 years ago. I brought my family from Ontario. I have 2 boys and a lovely wife. I've been married 18 years. I looked at many options in my life and decided that I wanted to settle in a secure community and environment to continue raising my family, to give my family a great future and a secure future. I chose Humboldt to come here to settle down, as it was becoming a vibrant and a prosperous community with a lot of potential and a lot of great aspects to settle your family in. I have coached minor hockey for many years and always tried to be part of my community.
Rob Minch.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Minch, and I've lived in Humboldt for the past 46 years. My wife Donna and I have 3 grown children, and I'm currently the marketing coordinator at Schulte Industries. I've served the citizens of Humboldt for the last 6 years and would be honored to be re-elected to the next City Council. I've been fortunate to have served on a number of boards, including the Chamber of Commerce, Humboldt JCs, Humboldt Broncos. I was on the Co-op board, the Humboldt Museum board, and on the board for the Humboldt Soccer Association. Just a bit of, I'm proud to have been on council for the past 6 years, and some of the highlights that we have accomplished were the upgrades to the Uniplex and the linkage to the new HCI, some of the West End development projects out there. We have worked with the developers out there. Our asset management plan, Centennial Park Master Plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, thank you.
Owen Hoffner.
Good evening, my name is Owen Hoffner. I recently moved back to Humboldt 4 years ago, so I thought I'd give you a bit of my background and what I'm hoping to bring to the table at the City Council. I grew up in Lake Lenore and farmed there along with my wife in the area for 20 years. We raised our 2 children. After leaving that position, I got several positions with Sasquatch Pool over 18 years. A number of where I was working with delegates, vice presidents, and presidents, and my final position with Sasquatch Pool was a sales development manager for the Alberta region. We moved back here from Calgary in 2008, and the first 2 years I was back, I was working with Saskatchewan Crop Insurance Corporation as regional manager. I semi-retired last summer, and I set up a business here in town this spring as...
Thank you, Owen.
Okay.
Six and 9.
9. I'm the one who knows my writing. Sorry.
7. Larry Jorgensen.
Thank you. Well, I'm Larry Jorgensen. I've been a resident of Humboldt for the last 20 years. I'm married. I have twin girls, Ashley and Shelby, who are 9. They attend Humboldt Public School. Over the last 20 years, I've been involved with the JCs. I was also a member of Humboldt Community Players, a community theater group for a while. I've been on boards of Skate Humboldt, Humboldt District Soccer Association. I'm currently the chair of the Humboldt Public School Community Council and vice president of Arts Humboldt. And I look forward to serving you on council if elected.
Larry Sunderland.
I am speaking on behalf of Larry Sunderland. Larry Sunderland was originally from Quill Lake, where he farmed for approximately 20 years. He was a grain buyer for Cargill Grain, a distributor for Gulf Oil, owned a garage and car wash, as well as being a sub-dealer for Thones Chrysler dealership out of Wynyard. Larry also spent numerous years as part of the Kinsman Club in Quill Lake, charter president of the Lions Club, was a member of the local school board, the president of the Mallard Hockey League for 3 years, chairperson of the Quill Lake Arena for 6 years, president of Minor Sports for 6 years, and served as alderman in the village of Quill Lake for 4 years. He moved to Humboldt in 2000. Larry served the past 5 years with the Communities in Bloom and has been a board member with the Onstage Dance Committee for the past 4 years and is still actively involved with both. He also spends his time helping out neighbors and people of the community. Larry's been married for 17 years to Pauline. They have 3 children, and he also has 3 older children and 7 grandchildren.
Francis Kuntz.
Good evening, I'm Francis Kuntz, your Deputy Chief of your volunteer firefighting. I would like to thank tonight the citizens who have come out tonight. You all are the main reason why I'm here. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for putting on this event. Since we are only allowed to address maybe 3 or 4 questions out of 12 tonight, it would be nice to have our written answers given to the elected councillors, as all ideas are good for our city. I wish the best to all the candidates. They deserve a thank you for putting their names forward to serve the city of Humboldt. Thank you.
Sandy Weiland.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum, and to everyone that has come out to hear all of us candidates and what we have to say this evening. So my name is Sandy Weiland, and I've been married to Dale for over 31 years. I am pleased to be running for a seat on City Council. I truly believe the most important politics are found at the local level, which is one of the reasons I decided to run for the council. I'm very excited to be running for a councillor position. These are exciting times as we see our city grow, and I believe as a city we need to keep up with this growth. I believe in order to have a great community, it must be great for all citizens. That is why I've been busy knocking on many, many doors and listening to numerous residents of the city about their concerns. Concerns that range from feeling safe on our sidewalks to how to pay for our infrastructure needs. As your councillor, I will try to balance these needs, always remembering that we are a growing city.
Thank you, Sandy. Linda Maddock.
Representing Linda Maddock. Candidate Linda Maddock sends regrets as she's unable to be here this evening as she's out of province for this week. Linda grew up on a family farm near Kawanzi. She attended the U of S to obtain her Bachelor of Education, postgraduate diploma in Education Administration, and her Master's in Education Administration. Linda and her husband Norman moved to Humboldt in 2001 when Linda became the principal of the Humboldt Public School. In 2006, she became a superintendent with Horizon School Division. Linda and Norman have 4 adult children and 3 grandchildren. Linda enjoys curling, acting, golfing, and watching her favorite hockey team, the Humboldt Broncos. After 35 plus years in the field of education, Linda retired from her rewarding education career in October of 2012. Her recent retirement will allow her to dedicate the necessary time to being an effective counselor available to the citizens of Humboldt should she become elected on October 24th. In her addition to her career and family, Linda has volunteered to support her community through various local events, including the Saskatchewan Winter Games in 2002, Grand Slam curling event, the Northern Men's Curling Playoffs.
Leon Fleischdecker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leon Fleischdecker. I have lived in Humboldt the past 34 years, and I've been managing the Petro-Canada Bulk Station for the past 30 years. My wife Karen and I have been married for 23 years, and we have 2 children. During my time in Humboldt, I have coached minor ball and soccer, and I've served 4 years on St. Augustine's Parish Council and 9 years on Humboldt Roman Catholic Separate School Board. During the past 2 terms on City Council, I've been the City Rep on the Library Board for 3 years. I've spent 3 years as City Rep on the Lanigan Watershed Board, and I am Chair of the REACT Board. I've also spent the last 3 years on the Administration and Protection Committee and Chair of the Public Works Committee. Thank you.
Roger Nordick.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow candidates, chamber members. I'm Roger Nordick. I was born in Humboldt in 1949, raised in St. Gregor, and later moved to Nipawin where I completed high school. A few years later, I moved to Humboldt to work as a meat manager at the co-op, and at the same time became owner and operator of Coe Plains Ambulance, Watson and Acom, and fire chief for the town of Humboldt at that time. In 1989, I took a position as fire chief building inspector for the city of Melville, and where I remained for 16 years. I then moved to Hinton for another 5 years as Director of Emergency Services. And wife and I moved back to Humboldt 3 years ago, where I retired from 46 years in emergency services. And I now enjoy maintenance, a little bit of maintenance work and home and building inspections. I look forward to an opportunity to serve you and all the citizens of Humboldt if elected. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move into the question period. Question number 1. If elected, what would you do to keep Humboldt growing? And we will first hear from Linda Maddock. Just a reminder, you have 90 seconds, and maybe have a quick glance up every once in a while so you can see when we're giving you a 20-second warning. Thank you.
Representing Linda Maddock. The region around Humboldt, and of course Humboldt itself, is experiencing positive economic growth. This is due in part to the partnerships that have been formed within the region. The City of Humboldt needs to continue to build on these positive working relationships with other centers and the industrial sector, including mining, which currently exists within the region. Our success and growth is drawing the attention of new investors. As a city, we need to capitalize on that interest with an aggressive marketing plan that targets new business, services, and potential new residents to Humboldt.
Owen Hoffner.
Okay, as your representative on Humboldt's council, I would work with the city team, the councilor, mayor, city administration, and staff to continue managing our current growth while being open to new opportunities and needs as they may arise.
And Larry Sunderland.
Representing Larry Sunderland. If elected, what would I do to keep Humboldt growing? Try to maintain taxes at the current level. Long-term infrastructure to complete as soon as possible and as finances allow. Give attention to back alleys as it adds potential for growth. And promote more government housing for seniors and low-income families to add to the existing housing we already have.
Question 2. What would you do to keep Humboldt a competitive location for investment? Roger Nordick.
Thank you. I would support the development of a business action plan that identifies a clear direction for economic development, social development, and environmental stewardship. I would work hard at ensuring a positive relationship between the Chamber of Commerce and the city is maintained. Some examples that impact investors and need to be explored are in economic development or tax levies, regional interaction, development charges, infrastructure management, and tourism. In social development, it's medical recruitment, indoor and outdoor recreation facilities for all ages, communications, and skills development. And environmental stewardship is energy efficiency, transportation, urban forestry, land use planning, which is infill housing, housing stock, and property standards legislation. Thank you.
Sandy Weiland.
So one of the ideas I have would be to provide some kind of a subsidy for small business owners to start up a business here. And I'd like to also mention this time that this is Small Business Owners Week, so we should all be celebrating that. Another thing I think we need to do is to provide good services so that businesses and people want to move here. Making the town more attractive to court investment, we need to be providing good infrastructure and fix our streets. The more amenities we have and the more services we can offer will make Humboldt more attractive to live and work and invest here.
Larry Jorgensen.
I think in order to be competitive, we need to understand our competition. Take business taxes, for example. We need to regularly look at similar sized cities and towns and understand what their policies are. We need to strive to be competitive with other communities while at the same time making sure we can afford it. We also need to be in tune with the investment community. If an investor is considering Humboldt but ultimately decides to invest their money in another community, we need to view that as an opportunity to learn what we could do differently. I also believe strongly that there needs to be a cooperative effort amongst all groups and businesses to portray a positive attitude towards investors. Groups like the Chamber and the Downtown Business Improvement District Group need to be active and visible. Finally, I think Humboldt youth need to be given more opportunities to learn business skills. This can be achieved with a program like Junior Achievement. Tax incentives and other incentives should also be considered and entertained, but only after a thorough review of what the payback would be on this sort of assistance. These are all concepts which I'm looking forward to learning more about, and I believe it is our duty as councillors to help shape policies which will keep our community investor friendly.
Question number 3. What would you do to increase the supply of housing, in particular entry-level and rental housing? Secondly, are you in favor of high-density housing in Humboldt, or what types of housing do you feel the city needs? We'll first hear from Francis Kuntz.
First off, I'd talk to the investors and contractors that are putting their money into growing Humboldt. I would go out into the surrounding area around the new investment area, check door to door with those citizens to hear their concerns and ideas, not just place an ad in a newspaper. Density housing, I would first want to research high-density house projects in other cities, hear their pros and their cons, then find a proper area in our city that would fit into our existing community. In the end, it is important that we find ways to bring affordable entry-level and rental housing in Humboldt. Thank you.
Mark Dreadhart.
For increasing the supply of housing, particularly entry-level and rental housing, I would also discuss with investors business opportunities and become more in tune to what is required, a detailed outlook of what is available right now and seeing what's out there now. For example, I looked online and you can only find about 13 rental properties, if that, in the area. This which helps limit bringing out new people and new families to the area. We would look at developing a subdivision plan to have a better review of what happens instead of having spot developments here and everywhere else. Have a detailed and more controlled plan for these subdivisions, and also review the cost of the lands being brought forth. I find one of the biggest things, the drawbacks for increasing the investment of new houses or subdivisions is the extreme high cost of the land in the areas. So a detailed review for that, whereas we're competing for other communities to bring more people here, we should look at that areas to help to position us better to compete against them.
Leon Fleischacker.
We have 80 to 100 acres of land that is ready to be developed by private developers. They are planning a variety of housing and should be starting next year. We need to talk to the owner of the trailer park in Humboldt. I believe there is an excellent opportunity for low-income housing there in the form of new house trailers. He needs to remodel and upgrade that area or sell it to someone who is interested in developing it. I am in favor of all types of housing in the city. I believe that the market will drive what is needed in Humboldt. Private developers have made a major investment in our city, and they will be ready to build whatever the market calls for.
Question number 4. What would you do to address the shortage of labor? First, we'll hear from Linda Maddock.
Representing Linda Maddock. Currently, a shortage of labor exists throughout our province. I believe that there is an opportunity to work with the provincial government to address this concern. I also feel that the city should partner with industry and other businesses in the region who have worked on this issue for some time now. They have been quite successful in working with immigration and other agencies to bring skilled laborers into the area. I think we can learn from them and the processes that they followed in order to address their labor shortages. In order to attract skilled laborers to the city itself, we must be able to offer competitive wages. We may need to raise wages in particular areas, but even having said that, the city will find it difficult, if not impossible, to match what the mining industry, for example, is paying its skilled labor force. In that case, we need to sell the positive lifestyle that is available to individuals and families choosing to call Humboldt home. It's not always about money.
Kent Flavel.
In order to address the shortage of skilled labor in Humboldt, I would support working with both local and provincial organizations and levels of government in promoting the in-migration and immigration of both Canadian and foreign skilled workers, as well as the training of local workers through our local post-secondary institutions, such as Carlton Trail Regional College, St. Peter's College, and through local apprenticeship programs. Thank you.
Rob Minch.
What I would do to help address the shortage of labor, firstly, is keep Humboldt an attractive place to live. Continue to work with private developers to provide accessible housing. And as a novel idea, I'd like to put it out there that one market I believe severely undertapped are our neighbors to the south in the U.S. I mean, you can't turn the TV on nowadays without seeing a show or something about people that are, unemployed. The economy isn't very good. I think we should be pursuing and looking for workers from that region of the world. Most of this area was settled by people. I know my great-grandfather came here from the U.S. and why can't we repeat this? So I would like to consider promote a Locate Humboldt campaign that we could run in the bigger cities in the province as well. That might help as well. So thank you.
Question number 5. What would you do to address the infrastructure deficit facing the city? First hear from Roger Nordic.
Thank you. The current water and sewer assessment management plan is a comprehensive study of our current infrastructure needs. I would support the recommendations that are identified in this study, specifically the sourcing of funding from higher levels of government, technical training initiatives for staff, and promoting high-density housing starts that decrease the water and sewer distribution network and encourage a long-term plan for operational and capital budgeting, which I feel is a fiscal model most desirable in our situation. Thank you.
Francis Coots.
First off, every year we budget money for infrastructure, and some years this money may, for some reason, not be used for what it was earmarked for. Where the money and the new levy charges went is a question that many citizens have asked when I went door to door. We must be clear with our citizens on what we are spending and where and why. What is our plan? Most importantly, make sure that money set aside for those projects are not diverted or spent elsewhere. Thank you.
And Owen Hoffner.
I would work with your city council to continue developing priorities within financial constraints of our tax structure to identify any opportunities that build efficiencies into what we do, as well as pursue opportunities which would reduce costs. For an example, work with the council and the Department of Highways to increase the funding for maintaining the highways going through our city, and also to work with the Department of Highways to speed up the process of getting a bypass road or highway around Humboldt so we can relieve the traffic congestion that we have now with the semi-trailers going through the city. Just as a side note, the infrastructures and new development that are happening, both business and residential, are now being fully paid for by the developers and not by our cities, as has been the case in the past. As a result, any new tax revenue is not being encumbered by paying down infrastructure costs for those properties, thereby allowing that money to be reassigned to different areas. Thank you.
Question number 6. The city currently has no shop local policy in place when it comes to how purchasing decisions are made. What are your feelings on the importance of a shop local policy? And as a councillor, would you make a motion to implement a shop local policy for the city? We'll first hear from Sandy Weiland.
Yes, I would make a motion. I feel it is very important to shop local, and it's also in my platform, in my brochure. But however, having said that, there has to be some parameters around that. The prices would have to remain competitive and within reason. For example, if the council is tied to supporting a certain local business, and if you're the only business in town, you still need to keep the prices competitive and not charge way higher, because you know that you are the only business that the city can go to, and that they know that the city has to hire them. But yes, I definitely believe in shopping local in all aspects.
Mark Dreadhart.
First off, I was quite surprised to find out there was no shop local policy, seeing how people are very loyal for their teams, their communities, etc. I would adopt this policy. Again, there would be stipulations, for example, put out to tender for 3 different bids to competitive places, just to keep things safe and sound. As Sandy said, just because you're the only one in town, that doesn't mean you have to price gouge, to keep it honest amongst everybody else, to be fair, but we should also give our community the first bid to have the opportunity to supply our community.
Larry Sunderland.
Speaking on behalf of Larry Sunderland, I will always attempt to use local shop if the product is available and competitive. If elected, I would implement this.
Question number 7. Will there be an emphasis on continuing to work with neighboring municipalities? And if so, why do you feel this is important to the growth of the region? First hear from Larry Jorgensen.
We are a very strong region, and I know that much of this strength has grown from the work of the former Carleton Trail RETA and more recently the work of the Peer Group. I believe these kinds of regional organizations must continue as they help to ensure the visibility of our region to the outside world, and they are an excellent way to share ideas amongst neighboring municipalities. Humboldt is now and will continue to be a hub for the East Central region of Saskatchewan. I believe Humboldt needs to take a leadership role in our region in bringing our neighbors together to discuss the challenges we face with respect to growth, worker shortages, infrastructure, and all other common issues. Regardless of where people live in the region, they will, throughout their lifetime, bring their retail shopping and professional services dollars to our community. They are an important part of our growth. Ensuring the region as a whole has a plan for growth will in turn help to ensure Humboldt's growth plan can continue. As a member of council, I would gladly volunteer to participate in more regional collaboration.
Leon Fleischacker.
I think that it's very important that we work with the entire region. We are experiencing growth in the entire region, and it is important that we work together to plan for this growth. We may be able to find cost savings in purchasing together or in sharing fees for professional services. We will have a lot of the same problems and concerns stemming from this growth, and I think we would have a much stronger voice taking these concerns to the senior governments with a regional voice than we would on an individual basis.
Rob, nope, not going on. Rob Minch.
Yes, I believe a regional approach is necessary. We have been working hard at developing these relationships and with looking at expanding them. We recently hired a new finance director who's been working with a number of our partners in the region, and we're going through our expenditures and trying to find savings for the city. One of the areas that we have looked at is regional procurement of goods and services, professional services, purchases, that type of thing. And we're looking at getting better pricing through bulk purchases.
Question number 8. Many of you are promising to deliver on specific aspects of your platform. However, you only have one vote and must engage the support of your fellow council members in order to move your agenda forward. What experience do you have working in a collaborative environment, and how will you bring your colleagues on board your plan? First, hear from Kent Flavel.
If elected, I will engage the support of my fellow council members to move forward with projects and differing agenda that I believe in. I have a lot of experience in engaging support for my agenda and negotiating my support for the agenda of others, brought about by my employment as a commercial account manager and my involvement in several different volunteer boards over the years, including nearly 10 years as a credit union director, 5 years on the board of the Humboldt District Chamber of Commerce, and several on the board of directors of the Minor Hockey Association. As well, I have taken many coaching courses for both my employment and through my involvement in minor hockey as a coach. I believe I can and will excel in working with other councillors, the mayor, and city administration.
Owen Hoffner.
Through my entire working career, I've had the good fortune of working in collaborative management team environments. As regional manager of Saskatchewan Crop Insurance in the wet years of 2010, the 3 regional managers, along with customer service manager and general manager, would meet or conference call weekly or bi-weekly as the moisture situation worsened to decide how crop insurance procedures would change, insurance procedures would change to allow us to manage the risk around having such a large amount of claims and growing without the additional human resource factor. Also with Saskatchewan Weed Pool, I worked with other managers on identifying problems and collaboratively developing and implementing solutions and processes. I was also involved with management teams that helped Sask Weed Pool through its financial trials. When I was a sales development manager for the Alberta region, I worked with the regional managers to build AgPro's footprint in Alberta and their brand name. To what I have found in working in a collaborative environment was to bring what I believe is worthwhile forward and discuss it, bring the good points, and keep an open mind to what other people have to say and evaluate what they have to say as well. Thank you.
Sandy Weiland.
My priorities are the citizens of Humboldt's priorities. We need to listen to what the citizens are telling us and govern accordingly. I have sat on various governance boards and have had a lot of experience in collaborative decision-making. I am not afraid to ask the tough questions and raise issues that I think need to be addressed. I think I can be a strong voice for City Council. I will speak out for what I think we need to do to make Humboldt a better place to live, work, and raise our families and to retire to.
Question number 9. Everything you are promising the constituents costs money. Have you done any independent analysis of the cost of your promises? How much will they cost? And how do you propose to pay for them? We'll first hear from Linda Maddock.
Representing Linda Maddock. No, I have not done any independent analysis of the cost of my promises. As a candidate, I did not make promises for the hope of gaining your vote. I did, however, identify what I felt were priorities for our city. Initially, if I am elected, I will have a lot to learn about civic government. I do not feel that as soon as a new council is elected, that its initial job is to take the city in a new or different direction. The previous council has developed a positive economic development vision for Humboldt. As a new council, we will need to continue that work and advance that vision even further. A councillor is only one member of a collaborative team. I believe our role is to keep the best interests of the citizens of Humboldt at heart. This will be accomplished by setting priorities and remaining fiscally responsible by balancing taxation with the needs and wants of our city.
Mark Dreadhart.
I also never did any independent analysis on any cost promises. I also agree that working as a team for the City Council to become fiscally responsible, to have developed an action plan on bringing the city forward. To say here saying I'm going to promise this is not what I'm about. I'm here to make the city a better place to live and listen to your needs and help attract the other businesses and more businesses to the area.
Larry Jorgensen.
Well, I'll make it 3 for 3. I also have not done any kind of detailed analysis on what my ideas will cost. However, nothing I've spoken out in support of is new. All of these issues have been discussed by previous city councils. I'm looking forward to continuing to work on these and helping to prioritize these issues. I want to pursue all avenues of funding for the projects and services our city needs. Grants and other government funding must be aggressively sought, but at the same time, lower priority programs and services may need to be cut or reduced in order to balance the need for these new programs, facilities, and services versus the burden on the taxpayer. I look forward to working on all these issues and can assure you that it is not my intention to push any agenda which is not affordable to the people of Humboldt.
The Canadian Taxpayers Federation is circulating a pledge for all candidates to promise not to raise taxes during their term. Have you or will you sign this pledge? Why or why not? First hear from Leon Fleischacker.
I will not sign the pledge. I don't want tax increases any more than anyone else, and you must remember, when I raise your taxes, I am also raising mine, so I would do that very responsibly. No one can be certain what the future holds, and I think that promising that could be very detrimental to the growth of our city.
Larry Sunderland.
Representing Larry Sunderland. If elected, I will make all decisions based on the needs of Humboldt. I will do everything to keep taxes stable. As I mentioned before, I will pledge to live within the budget.
And Roger Nordic.
I have not and would not sign a pledge or a promise to hold taxes for the next 4 years. Unfortunately, taxes are a reality of life in our country, and again, unfortunately, increasing taxes are again a reality. Reducing taxes and holding taxes over a 4-year span will almost certainly end up with services or programs being cut. I do feel the tax increases, if any, must be justified and reasonable. Thank you.
Question number 11. What are your thoughts in terms of funding local nonprofit organizations, and are there any nonprofit organizations in particular you feel are the city's responsibility to provide funds to? We'll first hear from Rob Minch.
The city currently closely works with a number of nonprofit and community groups and organizations in promoting their causes and participating in projects and partnering. I would continue to support the community grant program that we currently have and the special event grant program that we currently provide approximately $45,000 per year to community groups that they can apply for through a grant program, so I would continue to do that as well.
Kent Flavel.
If elected, I don't believe I would support directly funding of nonprofit organizations with tax revenues of the city of Humboldt. Nonprofit organizations come in many different forms, from small service organizations operated within limited budgets to larger organizations that generate significant business revenues and have large annual budgets. On the surface, this sounds like an easy way for a city administration to get themselves in trouble by trying to decide which organizations to support with little control over how the tax dollars would eventually be spent. Thank you.
Francis Coons.
Non-profit organizations are important for our low and middle income families. The Good Neighbor Store is a prime example that needs our support. It is an organization that keeps our city clean, provides goods for the low and income middle families. And the organizations then later return their funds back to the other organizations in our community and area. Thank you.
Okay, you guys are doing great on time. So, there is one more question to answer, which we're going to give each of you the opportunity to answer at the very end. But what I'd like to do is offer, if there was one question that you would like to answer that you were not selected to answer. So we'll give you a few seconds to kind of go through which question that might be, and then we'll again, just randomly choose somebody to start with that. So please choose one question that you would like to answer. Okay. Larry Jorgensen.
With regards to question 8, as far as bringing colleagues on board with my ideas, I've been a member of JCI Humboldt for the past 18 years, and through that organization have had a lot of experience in working with groups and bringing people together to understand my point of view and hopefully convince them that it can be done. One such project that I worked on recently was the Spray Park project. Initially, the project budget seemed impossible at $150,000. Considering that on average our events rarely make more than $5,000 to $10,000, this seemed to be more like a 15-year project than a 5-year project. However, I was able to convince our group that we should at least try, and over the 5 years we worked on grant applications, new projects, partnerships with businesses like BHP, Connexus, PCS, Access Communications, etc. In addition to our regular fundraising, we were able to meet our goal. I want to bring that same "why can't we" attitude to City Council, and hopefully this approach will win over my colleagues and get them to at least consider my ideas. My wife will also attest to the fact that I will rarely come out for or against any idea without first learning all the facts and weighing the pros and cons. When buying new furniture for our house, those qualities are probably not welcome. However, when dealing with the types of issues at the City Council level, I think my approach will not only ensure I make the best decisions possible, but should also help to persuade others to make the best decisions possible.
Sandy Weiland. When you choose your question, if you wouldn't mind just reading out the question, or I can do it too if you want to tell me which question you want to answer.
Well, it's okay, I can do it. Well, I had a tough decision. There was 2 I would really like to answer, but my page happens to be on question 10, so I guess I'll answer that one. Now, question number 10 is, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation is circulating a pledge for all candidates to promise not to raise taxes during their term. Have you or will you sign this pledge? Why or why not? Sorry, I'm just going to move my stuff. Okay. Well, I would like to hold the line on taxes for as long as we can. Many citizens are feeling overburdened with the taxes and the levies. However, to commit to 4 years would be irresponsible of me. I do not know how much money has been spent this past year and how much debt load has been taken on. We have no way of knowing what cost increases are going to occur years down the road, or what kind of issues that may arise or problems that may develop. Can we guarantee that the cost for paving, infrastructure replacement, cost of equipment and parts, etc. is going to remain the same cost as it is today? I doubt that. So to sign on and not increase taxes, but then to keep adding on new levies, to me is just another form of taxation as well. So, thank you.
That draw was for Larry Sunderland, but we're going to exclude Larry and Linda Maddock from this. Francis Kuntz.
I'll ask you to read question number 9.
Everything you are promising the constituents costs money. Have you done any independent analysis of the cost of your promises? How much will they cost? And how do you propose to pay for them?
Okay, my major election promises to you as citizens out there is to listen to you citizens' concerns and ideas. Research, hands-on, and try to solve to bring them to council or department heads. One example that I have is 4th Street. Where is 4th Street? It's a gravel street behind Landmark Place. The concern there for citizens is holes in the road and not being maintained. In my research, I seen the holes and the rough alley, heard from the citizens that they went to council, but were then told that the street was a back alley. These citizens are paying over $2,000 in taxes a year. My solution? They're not asking for it to be declared a 4th Street, but just a little bit of gravel to fill the holes and run our city grader down it. The cost would be negligible. Another citizen approached me with a concern that the rough holes between the pavement and in front of the post office. Possibly a falling accident, and yes, I did see this building again. I went personally there, and all it would take is a few shovels of pavement to fix it. Cost negligible, and our work crews could do it. Thank you.
Ken Flavel. What question would you like, Ken?
If you could read off number 3.
Question number 3. What would you do to increase the supply of housing, in particular entry-level and rental housing? Secondly, are you in favor of high-density housing in Humboldt? Or what types of housing do you feel the city needs?
If elected, I would assist in increasing the supply of entry-level housing and rental housing by working within our city administration and the business community to promote opportunities. I know of a number of groups and programs looking to bring this type of housing to the market, including one called Head Start on a Home, which is a new provincial program that will support moderate income households that can afford home ownership to purchase a home. This program alone expects to create a minimum of 1,000 new home ownership opportunities over the next 5 years in the province. The city should investigate ways to assist developers to make it profitable to construct this type of housing and supply our much needed housing units. I do feel that there is a need for all types of housing, including multi-unit and other high-density housing in Humboldt, if put in the right locations. Thank you.
Owen, which question can I read for you?
If you would read number 6, please.
Question number 6. The city currently has no shop local policy in place when it comes to how purchasing decisions are made. What are your feelings on the importance of a shop local policy? And as a councillor, would you make a motion to implement a shop local policy for the city?
I must have got some different information because I was told there is a shop local policy. But when tenders are put out, the city needs to look at value as well. Service, cost, as well as how does the product meet the city's needs versus the competitor's quote on product and their product, especially on equipment purchases. I think it's a fair amount of money could be saved, and we need to take those other things into consideration. As a council member, I would want to be financially responsible and show value to the community. Because of this, I feel tenders need to be dealt with on a case-by-case basis.
We are working on our asset management plan. We have an inventory of our water and sewer lines. We have a life expectancy of these lines, and now we need to produce a 5- and 10-year replacement plan for these lines. We have started this process for our pavement and sidewalks as well. Once this is completed, we need to put an estimated cost on this plan, and then the toughest part of all, finding ways to fund it. The numbers will be huge. That's why it is important that we find ways to cut infrastructure costs. The city is a member of Communities of Tomorrow, an organization that is looking for new technology for repair and replacement of water and sewer lines, new methods of reusing old asphalt, and many other things. It is important that the city looks at these methods and find ways to implement any of them that will help us cut our costs. When it comes to infrastructure, we need to do things differently. We need to spend more money repairing our fair and good pavement before it becomes poor. An example of that is what we just did on 5th Avenue. We crack filled and slurry sealed that road for a cost of about $80,000, and it will extend the life of that road about 10 to 15 years. The cost of replacement of that road is in the millions. Every municipality is facing this problem, and we must work with our region and our partners at SUMA to make sure the senior governments know that they must support us with our infrastructure deficit.
Question 5 is what would you do to address the infrastructure deficit in the city? One of the ideas I had for this also kind of solves a couple other the problems. One of the biggest problems in the industry right now is the shortage of skilled labor. With working with Carleton Trail College and with grants from the provincial government, having programs through them for the construction industry and heavy equipment operations, have them attack and take over some of the projects that we can use, basically using their their labor and their training to do work in our community, basically giving us a cost adjusted for the material supplied. This would help keep our youth in our city and help show that we are trying to promote a better lifestyle. With the shortage of labor coming, it'll be increasingly harder and harder to get these opportunities, and by looking at new and different ideas of attracting and developing these programs will help basically huge cost savings to the city.
Rob? What question can I give you, Rob? Question number 3. What would you do to increase the supply of housing, in particular entry-level rental housing? Secondly, are you in favor of high-density housing in Humboldt, or what types of housing do you feel the city needs?
Council and administration are currently working on working with three different developers that have affordable housing units in their plans. We have recently passed a bylaw creating a new zoning district called R3A. Now this allows for smaller lots to be implemented into developments. So these will provide a developer more lots per acre that they can put houses on that they can sell for a smaller amount of money, making them more affordable. These projects hopefully will be underway in the spring, and again they'll be market driven, so they'll have to have buyers for them. These projects can also use the Head Start on Home program that was also mentioned this evening. That allows loan approval without pre-sale requirements. So basically a developer can start building before he has pre-sales. So this will help getting some of those programs going a little quicker. There's also 4 more units for Habitat available for lots, room for lots there as well. So there was a provincial government announcement today for $344 million to build 12,000 new homes in the province as well. So hopefully we can lobby for some of that money. Thank you.
And Roger, what question would you like, Roger?
Okay, mine is number 12, I guess, or could
Well,
be.
you're all going to get to answer number 12.
Well, it's, what are your thoughts in terms of funding local nonprofit organizations?
Okay. So thoughts of, in terms of funding local nonprofit organizations, and are there any nonprofit organizations in particular you feel are the city's responsibility to provide funds to?
Thank you. Many nonprofit organizations I feel are the backbone of most communities. I would support a fair and reasonable method of distributing funds to these organizations. Communities in Bloom is one such organization that not only works hard to beautify our city, but upholds an extensive mandate to make the community a better place to live. Most people think it's all about flowers, but in fact, their mandate includes improvements in landscaping and ground covers throughout the community, environmental actions, heritage conservation, urban forestry, general tidiness, and floral displays. Each of these represent the needs of our city, so yes, I do feel that the city is responsible to provide funding for at least some of the groups in kind or monetary. One only has to record volunteer hours of most of these nonprofit groups and convert them at $10 an hour as a guide to establish any group's true monetary value to the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for answering that question. So like I had mentioned before, we are going to give each of you the opportunity to answer question number 12. And that question is, what is one unique idea, program, project that you would like to implement over the next 4 years? Kent.
Over the next 4 years, if I get the chance, I would like to investigate the development of a pedestrian overpass or underpass to allow students and citizens alike to cross Highway 5 to gain access between the service road along the front of the Bella Vista Inn, Humboldt Mall area, and the Uniplex High School area, in order to maintain the safety of our children and residents in accessing the high school and Uniplex on foot or bicycle. I believe this project would be a beneficial one. Thank you.
Larry Sunderland.
Representing Larry Sunderland, I would like to bring all back alleys up to standard. This would fall into place after streets, sidewalks, and pavements are looked after.
Yes, I have no single issue, but will deal with ongoing challenges the council will need to tackle and to provide accountability, communication, and service to you, the public. Thank you.
Rob?
The project I would bring forth and try to promote is to implement a new truck route that truckers can use to keep heavy truck traffic from traveling through the city. I believe it's a concern, a problem, and it needs to be addressed. The government has looked into a bigger, wider bypass, but I think we need to do, something in the midterm that we can identify it better and keep the truck traffic out of the main streets by the schools, that type of thing. So,
Francis.
It looks like Rob and I have going to have a joint venture in that one. Traffic control, most importantly, we need to look to the future. As our community grows with more businesses and citizens, we need to look at other growing and existing cities, what they have done and what they're doing to solve the traffic problems. A ring road for Humboldt is needed. This would help solve our problem with our old truck route at present, where you can't make a left-hand turn at Discovery very good to get onto it in the first place. And the problem we are facing at the junction of 5 and 20. We are not a little town anymore looking to be a city. We are a city, a growing city, and we need to take a city approach to the way we think in council. Thank you.
Leon?
For the past 3 years, I've been the city rep on the REACT board, and I've also been the chair of the REACT board. I would like the city to work with REACT to find a way to implement door-to-door pickup of multi-recycling material in the city of Humboldt. I believe this is important because the new regulations for landfills are making it very expensive to operate a landfill and even more expensive to open and operate new landfills. We need to do what we can to keep as much garbage as possible out of our landfills in order to get the maximum years of life out of them. And the best way to do this is to make recycling as easy as possible. If re-elected, I will be working on that for the next term.
Mark Strickert.
With reading the question, I see it states as what one unique idea or program or project do I have to bring? Unfortunately, I feel like others, the traffic is a problem, but it's not a unique idea. One of the things I found that attracted me to the area still has a small town feeling. There are some beautiful buildings, old style buildings, bringing back like the old country, and it is sporadic throughout the city. One of the ideas I have is to help businesses to have a plan to help bring a common theme to the downtown, instead of having a sporadic building and different ideas. Also trying to beautify the area. Driving in from Lanigan every day, you see there's part of the beautiful lake on the one side, and the other side you see the waste site. Trying to clean up the areas to make it look more inviting for people when they come into the city. I think that would bring us a long way, attracting more people.
Larry Jorgensen.
Well, I'm surprised nobody's talked about this tonight at all, but one of the things that I'm passionate about is Sutherland Theatre, or Performing Arts Theatre. I don't really have any regrets that we lost that facility. What I do regret is that we didn't start planning for its replacement more than 5 years ago. We're in a situation right now where it's going to take us a while to plan for that facility, develop a budget, and then figure out how we're going to get the money to build it. So that's something that I really feel that we need to start working on. Performing arts are an important cultural activity to attract people to our community and keep them engaged. If Humboldt wishes to continue to grow, a theatre is one of the pieces required to make it happen. If elected, I'll bring my experience from the JCs, Arts Humboldt, Humboldt community players to council and help steer us in the right direction and build a facility which rivals those in communities like Melfort and Yorkton.
Roger.
Thank you. The project I wish to speak on tonight is a small one, but nevertheless important. It's a safety issue in our community. Recently, there's been loads of hype about Waterbridge Park, and more recently about the Spray Park at the same location. It was a terrific idea, but something's missing. There's presently no way for children, or anyone walking for that matter, to access the park unless they drive or choose to walk along an extremely busy highway corridor or in the ditch, weather permitting, because you can't do it in the winter. The ditches are full of snow, and the highways are usually narrower. Once off the highway, they're then faced with a long stretch of gravel road that leads out to the golf course, where vehicles utilizing that road are often seen by me and others reaching high speeds. Both means of travel create a safety concern that should be addressed sooner than later. Thank you.
Linda Maddock.
Representing Linda Maddock. I wouldn't necessarily call it unique, as I've discussed the idea of an arts and cultural center with other Humboldt citizens. There is an obvious void in our community when it comes to centers such as this. Our region is rich in history, arts, and culture. An arts and cultural center in Humboldt would provide us all with the opportunity and a much-needed environment to share, showcase, and celebrate arts and culture. The development of such a center won't happen within the next 4 years, but I believe we need to begin the initial planning, including the application for various provincial grants that may be available for the development of a Humboldt Arts and Cultural Center.
And Sandy, please.
Well, I have several ideas and projects that I would like to see done, if they are feasible, and of course we need to have some research done. It was very difficult for me to decide which one to single out. Since I heard about this issue several times while I was out talking to our residents, and since it is in my platform, I would have to choose to talk about tonight is enhancing our youth programs. This initiative would be the one I would like most to implement first. I think it is important to keep our youth active and involved in activities. I don't have a whole planned out yet. I have to review and plan what the program would look like, but I haven't really had time to do that yet. I've had some suggestions on the doorstep about some ideas that citizens would like to see. And I would like to continue to work on this after the election. I have been too busy at this time working on getting elected first to actively develop a plan as to how this new program would look like.
Thank you very much, everybody, for answering all of the pre-proposed questions. We'll now allow you each a generous 2 minutes, since we're ahead of schedule here, to be able to have some closing remarks for the evening. We could first hear from, do we have closing remarks? We do. Okay. Closing remarks, Linda Maddock.
Representing Linda Maddock. Humboldt is currently experiencing positive economic growth and development. This is an exciting time for our city. Linda feels that she has many transferable skills from her 17+ years of experience in a leadership role, which will benefit the city of Humboldt. Linda will bring these strategic leadership experiences and effective communication skills to City Council. These attributes will be paramount in gathering input from and responding to the citizens of Humboldt now and into the future. Linda views the following as priorities for the city of Humboldt. Number 1, infrastructure and the need to maintain and enhance our current infrastructure, as well as planning for new infrastructure as the city grows. Number 2, continue to grow Humboldt by attracting businesses, services, and residents. Number 3, create an arts and culture center in Humboldt, a place to share, showcase, and celebrate the rich history, arts, and culture that exists in the Humboldt area. And number 4, develop green spaces within the city by ensuring that developers include parks, playgrounds, walking and running paths, and bike trails in new developments. Linda would be honored to serve as City Council in Humboldt, and she humbly asks for your support at the polls on October 24th.
Larry Sunderland.
Representing Larry Sunderland. I want to thank Jody Smith and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. I want to take these few minutes to tell you how I think the City of Humboldt should proceed. Infrastructure is a big priority. We must get the plan together and must not waste time in implementing it. We cannot continue to let our great city fall behind. Housing for seniors and low-income families should be addressed. Past years, the government, federal, provincial, and city worked together to fill the gap for the needs of these people I mentioned. I want the city to look into our water needs. I feel Sask Water Association and Walker Lake Pipeline should be investigated for certain costs that could be eliminated. My understanding is the users are paying a 9.5 interest on this line, which was for a loan given by Sask Water, where the system was set up. If this is true, let's try to change it to a more reasonable rate if possible. Another one of my concerns are the state of all the back alleys. I feel if the city would put forth more effort, it would encourage residents to help beautify the image of our growing city. I want to thank all of you who came out tonight, and October 24th, I ask you for your support. Thank you very much.
Owen Hoffner.
As your elected councillor, I will work with city administration and staff to continue improving the city's infrastructure. We need to ensure that we will have well-rounded services to meet the needs of our growing population. Our city should continue to be a great place to live, work, and bring children up and retire. The coming city growth will bring change. My experience has shown that change always brings opportunity, and I would want to be there to help find that opportunity and make choices that bring efficiencies and value to our great community, so it continues to be a place to thrive, where people thrive and people want to move their business and live here. I will bring 3 things with me to City Council if elected. One is accountability. As a member of your council, I will be accountable, something I consider a requirement of all elected officials and city staff. 2, communication. Taxpayers need the opportunity to know how and why decisions are made and see their value and how they relate to the Humboldt's long-term vision. And service. All citizens of Humboldt should be able to see value in the service they get from your city administration and staff, right down to what happens in your community and your street. With that, I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
Francis Coots.
Today I sit before you an ordinary citizen, one that has lived in this community since 1976. I have seen Humboldt grow from a town to a city. I have given 26 years in the fire service to protect our community. As a councilman, I plan to have a hands-on approach to get off the comfy chair at council. Go out with our expert department managers, see the problems firsthand, listen to their solutions, work and listen to the citizens involved. Then I'll go back to council and get the work done. In other words, with your support, I will be your eyes, ears, and your voice for your concerns and ideas in the council for the best of the whole community. Thank you.
Staying on this side, Roger Nordic, please.
I wish to thank all my fellow candidates well in their endeavors. I'm certain all our citizens will enjoy and grow from the knowledge and experiences all successful candidates bring to the table. With your support, I will definitely do whatever I can to improve the lives of all citizens in our community. I will endeavor to address safe access to our citizens at the beautiful Waterbridge Park, to actively push for development of our walking trail system, search for more definitive ways to improve our streets and intersections, both summer and winter use, find ways to improve health and safety for our senior citizens, enhance the safety of our children while they make their way to the school or at play, find ways to make our community an even more inviting and friendly place to live, all while being accountable and transparent, working within a long-range strategic plan that embraces the needs of business owners and our citizens during future expansion of our community. Thank you.
Leon Fleischacker.
I think the two most important things facing Humboldt right now are planning for growth and infrastructure planning. The growth is happening in the entire region, and I believe that we must plan for this growth with all our regional partners. In the end, working together is what will keep Humboldt growing. We are well on our way to completing our asset management plan, and we must have this in place to receive any government infrastructure grants in the future. But don't be fooled. Infrastructure replacement comes with a huge cost. And even if we get these grants, they always come with some kind of matching formula. So we will have to pay for our share. Council will have some tough decisions on how they're going to do this, and I would very much like to be a part of these decisions. It has been exciting watching this come together, although sometimes it seems painfully slow. If elected, I will promise to keep this moving forward, because that is what we must do to keep Humboldt growing. On October 24th, I am asking for your support.
Larry Jorgensen.
I think in my introduction I forgot to mention that I'm a mechanical engineer and I work at PAMI. I've been there for 6 years, so that may or may not be important to you. It's important to me. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight and listening to our comments. I want you to know that I take the responsibility of council very seriously. If I'm one of the 6 that you choose to represent you, know that I will strive to bring knowledge to council, which I have gathered from my experiences and interactions with all of you. I want to keep the momentum going. I hope you will entrust your vote to me next week, and I hope that I can continue to shape our community for the future.
Mark Dricker.
Again, thank you for letting us spend this time with you tonight, bringing up new ideas and hopefully bringing this great city to be a better place to live. I'll be honored to represent you guys at City Council, to work as a team leader and bring forth everybody's ideas and wants and needs to the council. I enjoy working as a team member, and I'd like to work with the team to attract more businesses and services to the city. With that, we would work on a detailed plan to attack our infrastructure needs and be more transparent to the community about the costs associated with it. Ideas like with working with community colleges to bring more programs to the colleges, to the area, to help address the skilled trades labor shortage that is affecting everybody, not only the cities but the mines in the area. Would also like to work with the Chamber to develop a tourism plan to help attract more tourism to the area. One of the greatest untapped resources that is the winter, and without a for example, a Skidoo trail plan from this area, we can use this as a gateway to the north, or for the gateway to this beautiful country. I'd like to thank you again for your time and look forward to helping represent this community in the future.
Kent Flavel.
If I've had the chance to talk to you, or you've had the chance to read my bio as printed in the Humboldt Journal or on the Humboldt District Chamber of Commerce website, you'll see that I've made no single issue promises during this campaign. Instead, I give you my commitment to work in an open, honest, and diligent manner on issues such as long-term planning for our growing city, infrastructure repair and replacement, and the needs of citizens and business alike that presently face the city, as well as issues that may and will come up over the next 4 years. In my opening comments tonight, I listed the many years of experience I have as a volunteer director for various organizations, thus showing my history of contributing to my community. I feel my time spent serving these boards have provided me with the well-rounded experience necessary to allow me to effectively work as part of the council and administration of the City of Humboldt. As well, my experience and knowledge of the operation of various types of business I have gained from my employment has given me additional experience to aid in making sound financial and business decisions on behalf of and for the benefit of the citizens of the City of Humboldt. I know that I won't know all the answers to all the questions or situations that face the council over a 4-year term, but I am willing to listen to the opinions of others, ask questions of the right people to get the information necessary to make well-informed decisions, and then make my thoughts known to others involved. I believe that I have the experience, people skills, and knowledge required to make a valued contribution and serve you, the electorate of the City of Humboldt, as councillor over the next 4 years. I ask for your support on Election Day, October the 24th. Thank you.
Sandy Weiland.
So if you had a chance to look at my pamphlet this evening and throughout the discussions, you know where my priorities are. We need to continue funding and working on our infrastructure needs. We need to continue the work of repairing our streets, replacing and repairing old water sewer lines, and we need to make sidewalk repair a top priority for the safety of our residents. It was well said in an article on our local municipal government's Facebook page, and I quote, "It is well established that sustained investment in public infrastructure brings results, enhanced economic productivity, higher competitiveness, and therefore better rates of economic growth. And it is this economic growth that generates revenue for governments with which to fund Canada's globally envied healthcare, education, and social safety nets. Hence our quality of life in this country, unquote. We need to look at innovative ways to implement new youth programs. We need to continue to work on affordable housing. We need to work on our cultural and recreational needs of our community. We need to work to ensure that Humboldt remains a great city to work, live, raise a family, and to retire in. We need to carry on all this important work to continue to attract new families and businesses to our community. As councillors, we need to be fiscally responsible with the taxpayers' money, always keeping in mind that we are here to serve the citizens of the community. I am asking for your vote on October 24th. I believe that I can be a strong voice on City Council. I have experience with making tough decisions with my experience on governance boards, and I think I can be a strong representative for the City of Humboldt. Humboldt is a growing and vibrant city. I would consider it an honor and a privilege to serve on City Council. Thank you.
And lastly, we'll hear from Rob Mitch.
I don't think there has been a period in Humboldt's history that there's been more planning going on. Council has been working with BHP, a number of developers, making sure our services and facilities are ready for the expected growth that's coming. Our asset management plan has been copied by a number of other communities in Canada. Most recently, interest has been shown by the City of Calgary. It is now time to implement those plans, and I would like to help carry them out. Where do we go from here? Keep repairing or replacing the roads, and do this after the water and sewer underneath has been updated. Continue to plan for growth, plan for facilities and services to keep up with that growth, and keep Humboldt a thriving community where people want to live, work, and invest. In order to provide the continuity from the last council until the next into the next 4 years, I respectfully ask for your vote on October 24th. And in closing, I would like to thank the Chamber for putting on this forum and wish best of luck to all the other candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I think candidates deserve a round of applause for tonight. Candidates for being so well prepared for tonight. You gave us some great insights into who you are and what you represent. So we appreciate your candidacy and the preparation that was put in for tonight. I'd like to thank my Vannas for tonight, Andre Kruger, Kevin Plemmel, and Greg Belladon. There was a reason we had to keep switching mics. It wasn't because I wanted to make them walk back and forth. It was just the way we had to make the speakers work for tonight. So thank you for your patience. I want to thank Carlos. We'll welcome him back into our community before he takes off for good to North Battleford with the Access Communications. So thank you very much for filming tonight, Carlos. Again, thank you very much for taking an interest and being here. As I explained before, it's so important that you exercise your right to vote on election day. Every vote matters. Because we are well ahead of schedule, we've got some excellent time to be able to network with the candidates. So we're going to ask everybody will just have a free forum to be able to meet them in person, ask them any questions that you had specifically for them. It'll just be very informal networking. Grab a coffee, water, whatever's going to suit you. And thank you very much for coming.